Okay, let's start fresh. On the master channel, load an insight 2 or just anything that's gonna show you the LUFS levels. Another thing, load span. This is gonna show us the curve. This is a very important tool when making music. The way you arrange this is just by using the mouse wheel button. So now that we have the insight and the span, we're gonna keep them here. This is only gonna be used a bit later on in the project, where we only check the LUFS, especially when mixing and close to mastering stages. So we keep that off for now. What we're gonna do is just use span mainly for the image. What you do is just go to preset, session bank, and just choose mid-side stereo. Double click on that. Right, let's do a sample trace. Let's find some samples now. Another important thing is you need to have loads of samples. Just find any samples on the internet. You can find all of these like pretty much free if you know what to look for. Let's try this kick first. It might not be the right kick, but for now I think it's fine. Right, so when choosing your kicks, make sure they are balanced. What do I mean by balanced? Let's see on the EQ. Let's put the kick on number 1. Let's load an EQ. This preset you can make it yourself. Actually, let me start fresh. Default, choose this. Type high pass. Step 6, you press the right mouse button to shift through these without exiting the menu. Linear phase is gonna kill the CPU, so for now it's fine. Let's try all of these. So balanced, turn on the high precision. Balance. You see, it's too much accentuated in the low end. So what we do is just turn down a bit. We don't need all that much. Now we open the span. It's just a bit of stereo information, and that's fine. -3 dB, and then we increase it if we need it after that. What we look on the span is we need to have the kick have a slope ending downwards. We're gonna roll off the top end because we're making trap like this. We need to emphasize this area mostly, and a bit of the 4K, let's say. None of the high end, because we're gonna have hats a bit more in the range of 800 Hz. And that should be it. That's the kick. Now let's choose a snare, and then we're gonna add a limiter on the master, which is also very important to see how the track is gonna sound, especially in the low end where most of the information resides. Actually, let me try some of my drums. Snares. Right, like this. Let's choose the speed 170, let's say 174. Right, let's say resample, reset the time. So we have the kick in E. We might turn that down a bit. Actually, let me make this faster. You click here, or Shift and M, or Command and M. Then we'll click on stretch. Actually, let me click again, resample. Right, we're gonna do a simple pattern just like boom, push, boom, push. Let's see. This is how the drop is gonna be like, right? As simple as that. Let's go on the master, add a limiter, very important, fruity limiter, we all have this. Set the ceiling all the way up, set the soft saturation threshold, that's -3. You look on the hint bar or up there, right, all the way up, -3 let's say, or -1. This is just how fast or slow the soft saturation will act. And let's put this at 5.5, it can go all the way at 9.9. Right, that's the difference, but we're focusing on the clarity aspect of the thing, so let's start with 6, okay? And we load the limiter before the span gets in the way. So span has to read all the information after the limiter is applied, okay? The attack and release has to be set to the lowest fundamental according to the notes. We're gonna dive into that a bit later. Now, a very good rule of thumb when we look on the span, this sub here must not go any more than -6 on the scale. So we're looking at there. A maximum of here, otherwise you're gonna hear clipping. So let's keep that there. Let's add a subline. Actually, let me do, the subline, then we do the sidechain. Bam, bam. Again, shift and wheel to move this here, like this. Let's do a subline, an easy subline. Mouse wheel here. We add a 3x oscillator. It's good and reliable. We click the track number to add it. Let's put this on number 7. We reset that to default here. Number 7. Add it as sub. We make the sub and leave it like that. We add the parametric EQ just so we can remove the high end. There we go. It's better to keep this here, not like this, but like this, because when you haven't got the linear phase or any of the phases or resolutions, that is the oversampling, you get a phase distortion, which goes a bit higher. It goes like this as a notch on top of the flat edge you chose. So being like this is perfect, it's fine, okay? Cut the sub at 25 Hertz. Let's turn it down from here. It's loud because it's going into the limiter, but we keep the sub as is. And what we do is just go into the 3x oscillator, turn these down, turn all these knobs down. That's fine. And we go onto the spanner here. With the right click, you choose the root note on C6. And then I press X on my keyboard. That would be a D if you look on the hidden bar or up there. Now, if we want to add harmonics, we need to chop these away. If we want to add harmonics, we choose a different. We're running now with number 1, which hasn't got an output knob. So we're using the second one to bring in some harmonics by choosing a different wavetable. And we simply cut these like this. If we want to bring like some noise, but for now we're gonna keep the sub clean. If we go on the spanner, we see we need to have the sub hitting around this line here. That's minus 29 dB if we look up there. So what we do is just color the sub, turn the color all the way down, that's weird, and play with the blow overdrive knob while having the sub sitting around there. That's good. What we need now is just a soft clipper, a fruity soft clipper. I always like to add it all the way down. No matter how much you push this knob, it's just gonna squeeze. Actually, soft clip. Just dial this down a bit and that's it. And then you turn it down from here. Okay, what's missing now is the sidechain. We go into the piano roll. Let's choose a D, which is a long D. We go on the playlist. That's the, let's call it the foundation, some sort of foundation. We need this a bit shorter now that we have the sub in. Right, let's check the kick first before we do the sidechain. We need a soft clipper, it must not go over 0. Soft clipper, the snare as well. Load the snare number 2. So your drums have to be the loudest in the mix. Right, the sidechain. We know we have the sub here. We go on number 25, 125 on the mixer track of this version of FL Studio. Right click and we dock it to left. There we go, just like that. We're gonna call this side chain. How I did this, just press the mouse button, the middle mouse button, and you're gonna get into this menu. Simply pick a nice color. Now we link the sub not to the master, we link it to the side. So now that the sub is going to the side chain, we just automate this, right? We go on the playlist, with the right click, we select the portion we wanna do the side chain on. Let's choose this, right click. So let's reset with the mouse wheel button, right click and automate this. There we go, like this. Let's choose a different color, click, press F2, multiple times F2, and let's choose another one. That should be fine. So this is the sidechain basically. Right click here, we choose the double curve. Choose an appropriate curve for this, and make sure you blend it properly with the kick. Everything that goes over the curve gets blended with the sub, so you want to have a smoother curve. There we go, just like that. Not too much and not too little either. They should be perfect. So this is the sidechain, and we choose a different color. I don't like that. We choose this, and we put the sidechain here where the kick hits, and for the snare, where the snare hits, we make this unique. It's still going to affect the knob down there, but we make it smaller. You hold Alt and Shift and you just go backwards. We need to automate for the snare. It should be fine for the snare. Let's choose a different color. That's the snare, and we're gonna put this just on the snare. Let's choose a different color for the snare. The brights are purple. Let's move this all the way up. Select everything and Shift and the arrow keys, or the left and left right keys, and we move everything up, and this should be the final result we have. Let's choose a different snare. That's not good. This snare is fine, I think. Sounds good. Let me add a short reverb on it. So we're trying to remove the fundamental of the snare, that is 600 Hz. Being reverbed too much. We're aiming for the 120, 1020, 1.2K. That's what we want to have reverb. So we go with a low cut, boy. 1100, that's good. And below 10k, because otherwise the hats are gonna stay there. And the damping below 9.8, let's say. You go with the width however you want. The size has to be quite big, so we keep it like that and we work from there. Okay, that's good. Let's add some hats in. Let's save this project. Trap note 25. I need a shorter decay on here. The hats needs to go on the sidechain, don't forget that. I need more high end. When I say I need more high end, I don't necessarily look on the span, but I just know, you know, between 10k and 15k. If I can't get it out with an EQ curve, then I need to replace the hat, not trying to fix it. You see? This orange thingy, that's spilling. That's all we need, the mid-side information on the span on the master. The orange line is phase cancellation on the correlation meter. So every time we go over 0 instead of going under 0, that is on the right hand side, you see all that orange stuff is being cancelled when we sum the whole thing in mono. That is when we play it on the phone. When you play with the samples, any samples, just make sure you have the fades button. Don't go in here and play with these are trash. Make sure you have the whole control over the whole thing. Okay, so the way you select everything is just you go on a sample, you click it, and then you shift and C, and then you can select all the samples. Let me choose a different color. Click, shift and C, and you can select everything, and from here you can play with everything however you want. Shift and C, shift and arrow keys. You need to have on these hi-hats, especially on this speed 174, a bit more like a groove, more humanization on the, that is, you decrease the attack, you move it off the grid, you increase the attack, you put it on the grid kind of thing, and you play like this with everything. And there is another thing, select everything like this, create automation clip. Make sure you always select the whole thing as much as you need. You don't need the fucking automation clip till the end of the world. Just go in here in this, double click on that, and just play with the panning like this. You want it a bit more smooth, you know, and not too much. The way you copy this from here to there is just click on it and press shift and click, shift and click, shift and click, like this, shift and X to cut it, and you basically just copy it in some other place. Let's try a close hi-hat. When you have no sound, it's because your playhead is there, and the side, which is 125 at the end, is the preview track. If you go into your settings, the browser preview track, in order to have sound on these, you just select a different thingy, because 125 is used for the sidechain, but the 124 can be used for a preview, and we use that for preview, and we just turn it down by 4 dBs, so you can focus on the mix properly volume wise. So let's try a small closed hat. Its hat is quite clean, I see, so it's fine as it is. So number 4, double click on that, it's gonna take us on number 4. We take this and put it on the sidechain as well, making sure number 3 is going to the sidechain. That's nice. You see? If you want to remove the sidechain of this knob, you either have initiate this song with this position, or you go to the you go here, current project, initialize control, and this is gonna be the side volume. You delete this event, and then the track is gonna stay wherever you put it, just so you know how it works with your automation clip. Let's get back to business. Let's try. You click here. You click this button, it's gonna take you to the locate sample in the browser button. It's gonna take you where the sample is in the browser. We can put this on number 4. Or we check it as well, it's fine. And we just select we do the gain staging from the knob here, which is okay-ish. Another thing, just make sure you don't play too much with the knobs on the mixer fader, because when they go into the limiter, they need to be properly mixed. That is, volume wise has to be the sample volume and not the mixer fader volume, because this is just like more a line fader, if you know what I'm talking about. This is just like in line. That is, this is the main volume you want to affect, not the output of the whole chain with plugins and everything. This is the drive, the input, this or this, like here. And you only need a soft clipper when you have the white line there that is clipping, you know, you add the soft clipper here, last in the chain. Let's turn this down. Now that we have everything linked to this, and let's say the processing is done, now we can turn this down. And later in the mix, when the mix is gonna be fuller, we just simply increase the top end if we need more, if the bass is not providing enough. Let's add one more. I'm gonna chop this because it's better to chop than resize. You see, I'm not turning these down from here. Simply going in the sample, and just the best way to mix regarding this blending, just simply go with the volume while the mix is playing in the background. From 0 to however you feel is proper. That's too much. Right, there is a thing with this hat. This thing, it's not going on number 4, it's going on number 5. We side chin it, side widen it. You can use any major or anything, any plugin. That's a difference if you got headphones, which I hope you will. Let's look on the spanner. As an artistic choice, it's fine if we have leakage into the stereo. This is how the sample comes. It's properly looked after, but this is where we're gonna push it. For the sake of creating an image that's too much, we dial it down a bit. Simply here is fine, because you know, when you do the mastering, usually it requires for you to push the high end into stereo. Okay, so now that we have that, the hat, we need to add the bounce effect. So we do this by not leaving the tail playing, you know. Again, the human thingy, make this unique, panning it here, adding it one more here, double click on it, do the panning on the other side, on the snare, okay? This is dropping on the snare. Right off the bat, I see we need more overdrive into the sub. Let's check with span, this guy is not lying. There's too much sub in there, for sure. What we do is just lower the sub a bit. We either lower it from here or the input. You see it's changing the tonal quality. As the drive knob, it becomes more cleaner, more as it should be. But we don't want it like that, so we keep this, the drive full, and only now we lower it from here, when we achieve the desired effect. This is what you look for here. We need to raise this fundamental. This is the third fundamental on the subline. We simply do a bell curve until we achieve what we need in there. Let's increase a bit more. Okay, so we need to clear the area around 300-400 Hertz. That's very muddy, where the mud is, obviously a bit lower. So what we do is just load another EQ and we just double check. And this is it. Okay, it can stay like this, right? If you want to cycle through the tabs, you just press tab key. Okie dokie, that's perfect. Let's check the inside. What is it saying? Take the sub away. Yeah. It's fine, but that's a good bass. We can definitely push the limiter on the master way harder with the sub only, but we're gonna do that a bit later, and then adjust the sub a bit more depending on the sounds we bring in. So that's that. Control B to duplicate that. It's the whole thing. Let's drag the whole thing here and work from here. Right, on the kick, I think it's not kicking properly. We can push it a bit more. About this, people like to work with drum bosses and all that. No bro, I like more flow. I'm not that organized. I'm organized in my mind, and I suggest you do that so you can go back and forth by using your brain, not really being organized. Be an artist. Try to adopt this way of working, you know. DS10 Drum Shaper. This is the best plugin for drums, I'm telling you. Just check the kick. We have a soft clip included as well. How many are the DS10 here? If you don't have DS10, you can definitely use transient shaper. Transient shape processor, sorry, transient shape, transient processor. You see, is the timbre, the low end of the sample. So here should be fine. The drive acts as a compressor. And the split balance, check what it does. If you look, it's a dry wet knob. This is the best I can get with the transient processor. I would still go for the drum shaper, although we can decrease this a bit to have the same tonal balance. Yeah, it still goes heavy, man, I'm telling you. I would still go for the DS shaper. We need more hats in this game. We gotta increase the volume of this. Increase the attack, it's kind of robotic and I don't want that. This needs to go a bit like slower. This needs to be like this, double done. So if you want to cut, just press and hold, but you make sure you need to have this enabled in your options. Let's check now. General, use, click and hold. You have to, it doesn't come on with this, so you have to click it there. Let's loop this, increase the hats a bit. You as well. I think these are a bit heavy, so let's take a bit off from the low end. So this is the foundation of the whole track. This is a proper stereo image for the hats and the instrumental only. And on the limiter, you can definitely push this if you lower the sub here. So 6 is fine for now. Right, let's save this and jump onto the next part. I'm gonna take a break, make another coffee, and be right back with you.